No, may as well get the show on the road, huh? So I see John Armstrong here in person, not just in video, right? Welcome. Um, so, it, let's
How do I go back to the email?
with I want to welcome you all to the Bloomington Rotary Club's weekly celebration of service for May 19th, 2020. I'm Aaron Davis, current club president, and it's just great to see everyone here, including our special guests. So wherever you are, thank you for being here. And now Jim Bright is going to introduce one guest to lead the pledge and share a reflection.
Okay, it's my pleasure to welcome today a longtime friend of Rotary who these days lives in Kansas City. She just received her master's degree in opera performance. Jessica True. Jessica, would you like to lead us in the pledge and give our reflection?
Yes. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was.
Yeah.
Oh, in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes,
oh,
please.
I was like, wait, are we doing the Rotary 4Ds? No, okay, good.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible,
With liberty
and
justice
for all.
Okay, Jessica.
All right. Well, I have a short reflection on my experiences with the Rotary Youth Exchange program. I actually stumbled upon Rotary through a Google search, of all things. I was a junior in high school and kind of really tired of it. And so I found the Youth Exchange program and was thrust into this wonderful world of service and community. At first, I was a little intimidated by the 30-page application and the tuberculosis test, but thank goodness for Elise Kahn Powers' patience and generosity of spirit for getting me through it. And through applying and going to Rotary meetings as a guest, I met Joy Conharder, and that is how I became involved with the Interact Club at Bloomington High School North. It was very much in its infancy when I joined, but it was wonderful to be part of a community who is so involved with helping the community. So I was glad that I got to participate at least for a little bit before I left on my exchange. And I just have to say I'm so thankful because it wasn't the experience that I had anticipated. I was really hoping to be sent to Italy because I had a good amount of language knowledge in Italian, but I'm so glad that I was sent to Germany because I think it's a much more valuable experience when you're thrust into a situation where you're not comfortable and things are more foreign, just because that's where you have room to grow. And I got so lucky to be placed with a family, the Werners, in Genthin, Germany. So tiny little town, 12,000 people, tops, and in the former East Germany. So if they didn't speak German, they spoke Russian. So it was wonderful as a language learning and cultural experience because it was so out of the box for what I was expecting. They even had a little Russian store called Kalinka. Um, but this family took me in and made me one of their own, and I ended up living with them for 7 months because of a strange uh, uh, family debacle. But we had a wonderful time, and I've seen them pretty much once a year, every year since. So since 2013, whether it's I'm in Europe and I've hop a short flight to see them, or one summer they met me in Italy for a week, and I learned the joys of directly translating between German and Italian, and my brain hurt by the end of that week, but I had a great time. And they actually came to Bloomington last summer and got to experience the Tibetan Cultural Center and the Indianapolis Children's Museum, and it was really wonderful. So thank you all, and thanks past and future Rotarians for supporting this program, because wow, does it open your eyes and help you grow and make you a better person. And I think everyone can benefit from an experience being completely out of their comfort zone and realizing that people are people no matter where they are, and you have something to learn and something to share with anyone. So thank you so much for having me, and thank you for supporting the program.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for joining us from Kansas City. And many of you will remember on the call that Jessica sang at our 2016 Rotary District Conference here in Bloomington. And again, she sang, I think, Let There Be Peace on Earth.
Yeah.
I think it was there at our centennial celebration in May of 2018. So you'll always be special to us, Jessica. Back to you, Aaron.
Yes, and Jessica, how's your career going?
Oh, it's good so far. It's very much in its infancy. It's not a great time to be a singer. We're considered super spreaders, so boy, do you have to get a lot of air out of your lungs to sing opera. So, but I'm happy to take this time to really focus on my craft, and hopefully we'll be able to come out of this chrysalis a butterfly. So.
Have you been able to do any performing online?
I have started some projects. I'm currently developing them, but really I've been focused on just what with the university being closed and churches are no longer doing live services. That was a lot of my income. So right now I'm focusing on developing other skills to be able to have a solid side gig until singing can come up again. And once I'm a little more secure, then I'll get back into the singing.
Well, I hate to volunteer Alan because he's so busy, but he's a good connection for for dealing with that transition of how to move one's profession ahead.
I should definitely pick your brains, Alain. Well, we already know each other because my mother was a teacher at the school where his daughters went.
That's right.
We've known each other a long time, and your TikTok was amazing.
Well, happy to talk with you, and it's so great to have you with us today. Really special. Look forward to being in touch sometime soon.
Most definitely. Thank you.
And I'd like to acknowledge today's greeters, Jim Bright, Michael Shermis, and Ashley Sullivan, and production supervisor and account owner of Zoom, Ellen Barker. And our reporter for May is Glenda Murray, another past president, of course. So now we're going to introduce the guests who are not here all the time. So I'll start with Jim Bright. Who do we have to introduce?
Okay, Aaron, we're pleased to have with us today 3 Rotarians from the Bedford Rotary Club. First of all, past District Governor Judy Bush, current President John Bush. So again, you can say we had President Bush with us here today. And then Raj Hadawi joining us from North Carolina, Chapel Hill. We have Paul Beretta with the Rushville Rotary Club. Paul is the father of our own John Beretta. And finally, we have with us past President Phil Meyer, whom we haven't seen in ages. And Phil, it's so good to have you with us. And Phil, again, was past president of our club. Any other Rotarians visiting today whom I might have missed? If not, back to you.
You might mention Jim Cessna again, since not everyone was here in the beginning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Jim Cessna, again with the Bedford Rotary Club. Thank you, Glenda. Jim, it's so good to have you with us here today.
Hey, I might follow up. Ann Wink from Germany, after the year 2000, went to Bloomington North High School. She's a former youth exchange student inbound.
Okay, and Jim, thank you for mentioning that. Bedford, they're the leaders in our district in terms of the Rotary Youth Exchange program, both sending students overseas and entertaining them there in Bedford. Thank you, Jim Cessna.
Okay, and Owen, did you have a guest?
Yes, I do, and I'm pleased to introduce Michael Brainerd. I thought it would be appropriate to invite him because he is an actor who has been in films and on television, most specifically in television, the series All My Children and Santa Barbara. I first met him, must be 6 or 7 years ago now. He was in town to pick my brain about Ernie Pyle, and I was amazed to talk to somebody who knew so much about Pyle. Some of you may have heard him on the radio or on podcasts because he is the writer, director, and plays the role of Ernie Pyle in the WFIU series, The Ernie Pyle Experiment. Welcome, Michael.
Yes, welcome, Michael. Great to have you here. And Ashley, did you detect anyone else who hadn't been introduced?
I'm trying to look through all the screens to make sure we've got everyone. We've got quite a few people.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's why it's
if I'm missing anyone.
Aaron, I see Otto Ray from the Bloomington. Are you in Sunrise, Otto, or North? Sunrise. Doesn't have his. Unmute yourself.
North Club.
North, yeah.
Oh, well, welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think we're great, yeah.
I think that is everyone.
Great. Thank you, President-elect Ashley Sullivan. Well, so greetings to everyone who's signed into this meeting, and those who've come here by phone or by internet without video. We may not see you, but we still really appreciate your presence and your participation here. I see Gus Shackles. Hello. So moving to the Rotary family, we have a couple of birthdays this week, both from organizational members. Marcus Whitted, who's with the Community Foundation, and Elise Zollman, who's with Baird. So happy birthday. I think I did see Megan Thompson also. I'd like to acknowledge the organizational members because we don't always have their names at our fingertips. And then membership anniversaries this week, 2 years, Jim Sims. So congratulations and thank you all for being Rotarians and enriching my life and everyone else here. Rotarians in the news will maybe hold off till the roundabout. I have some Rotary Action updates, and I'll mention them a little more completely than usual. Our celebrations of services have included from 50 to over 80 people. We can hold more. So please keep encouraging members who haven't made it to a meeting to join us, as well as friends and family. We're likely to continue virtual meetings. We'll see, as an option for members who can't make it to the physical meetings, even in the future after in-person meetings do return. So please stay in touch with fellow members during this time. It is stressful and confusing for all of us. Feel free to contact Natalie or myself for help as we mark the 10th week since we last met in the Georgian Room on March 10th. Congratulations to all of us for keeping Bloomington Rotary Club alive and well, and it is. So join us at our next Rotary Zoom Cafe to socialize Thursdays, every Thursday from 7 to 8. But this week, you have a pass. This week, you have a great alternative that we recommend. And that is, you'll get confirmation from Alan Barker, but that's during the week of the Bloomington Early Music Festival 2020. And so that's on Facebook Live, Alan?
Yes, hi everybody. Yes, it's on Facebook Live. If you just go to Facebook and look for the Bloomington Early Music Festival, you'll come across a page that is the Bloomington Music Festival. You can just see it there. Or you can go to YouTube and search for Bloomington Early Music Festival. Both will be playing the performance on Thursday at 7 o'clock in the evening. And it's a production, it's called La Purpura de la Rosa, which is the first opera in the Americas. So it's going to be a performance of the first opera in the Americas. It's a very nice production.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Now, Hal Turner, who is chair of the Monroe County Election Board, who wanted to remind everyone to send in their application to vote by mail by May 21st. That's the deadline, even though the election is June 2nd. So you need to send in the application by May 21st. Our board of directors will meet on Thursday, and according to our bylaws, the board has the responsibility to set our dues each year. So they are considering a proposal to increase dues at this time. Since we have no income from meals, in order to allow our work and our services to continue, that's what we'll be discussing on Thursday. So I just wanted you to know that that's coming up. So stay in touch with any of the board members you know, and look for more information, perhaps on Thursday in the roundabout. And feel free to email me or board members with questions. So looking ahead a little further, please plan to attend our celebration of service on July 7th, which will be the transition of presidency from me to President-elect Ashley Sullivan. And that's the year. Ashley Sullivan's year is the theme of Rotary opening opportunities. And it's a great theme. I'm really looking forward to next year and to Ashley's leadership, with Sally Gaskell as president-elect at that time, and Kyla Cox-Deckard, and as continuing as treasurer, and Dave Meyer continuing as club secretary, with Natalie Blaze, our executive assistant. So, I don't know. Does anyone have anything to be happy about? Let's do some happy dollars. Sarah.
I'm happy because Teachers Warehouse is opening tomorrow for the first time in a couple of months, just for donations. We know everyone the phone has been ringing off the hook there with people who have been cleaning out their offices, their closets, their basements, everything. And so we're very happy to be opening to just receive donations. We think we've figured out a way to do it without, that's a, pandemically correct way, so that nobody will be at risk. And we're very much looking forward to getting back in business.
Thank you, Sarah.
1 to 4 on Wednesdays.
And we're all looking forward to getting back to volunteering at Teachers Warehouse, having that all open. But in the meantime, it's really important to stay engaged. And thank you, Sarah, for representing us there.
Hi, this is Leslie. I wanted to report that after 10 weeks of response to COVID, we still have no clients that have tested positive for COVID-19. So we're very, very thankful.
That's great. Glenn.
Hey, I'm happy to report that the Scouts are partnering with Cardinal Spirits, and in the last 10 days, we have sold 4,000 gallons of hand sanitizer to help communities get back up to speed, and that equals about $60,000 of profits that are going into scouting programs. So if anybody needs sanitizer, reach out to me and we deliver.
Wonderful. Thank you, Glenn. Okay, who's next? We have some time, so. I'm not seeing any hands. So if anybody wants to go ahead, just speak up.
I'm happy to have so many visitors today. It's good to have former Bloomington Rotarians, Raj Adawi and Phil Meyer, and such a treat to see you. And it's a treat to have Jessica and to talk a little bit about Rotary Youth Exchange, and to have on here Judy Bush, who has served the district in that capacity. Big interest of past District Governor Judy Bush. So great to have all of our visitors with us today.
And I was just going to say, it's good to take a moment and be thankful for all of the agencies we have in town who've been helping people through all of these various challenges and crises that we're facing right now. So thanks to all of the agencies and all the people.
And I want to recognize Sandy Keller and Joy Harder, who are here. Great to have you here.
Aaron, so many of us turn to music and the arts as coping mechanisms and as simple expressions of joy throughout this period. And Alan mentioned this in the chat, but the Bloomington Early Music Festival is not only on Thursday night this week, it is every night this week. The third performance of the festival is tonight at 7, every night until Sunday, I believe, plus Saturday at 4 p.m. And tune in if you can. It's really great. And I don't know if it's more labor intensive to put together a virtual festival of pre-recorded performances as opposed to a live performance schedule, but it's a lot of work. So tune in.
Thank you, Sally.
Great. I also want to say hi to Julia Merkt, and the names are flashing around there as the algorithms change. But there were some other people also. So, but thank you.
Can I speak up? Can I speak up? I'm Michael Brainerd. I'm Owen Johnson's guest.
Yes.
I just want to invite all of you guys to listen to our podcast, the radio drama that I wrote about Ernie Pyle, and it's on WFIU. Has anybody heard it?
Not yet.
Not yet? Well, if you want to go to the website of WFIU and look it up, it's a lot of fun. We have 4 episodes up right now. We'll have 13 by August. And it's played every 3 weeks on WFIU 2, but you can play it over your computer right now.
Thank you.
And we recorded in Bloomington. I'm in Los Angeles right now, but we recorded there, and I love your town very much.
And if you're interested, I have a bit part on one of the episodes.
Yes, he does. He was great.
Well, thank you, Mike and Owen. And now, I think unless we have one more happy hour, we can go ahead and have Sally Gasco, our soon-to-be president-elect, introduce our guest.
I'm muted. Okay. This is a real pleasure for me to be able to introduce John Armstrong to all of you. John is no stranger to our club. He's been a guest on several occasions. But just to give you a little bit of background about him, he is an actor, director, producer, and coach with 20 years of experience in theater and film. He is specifically co-founder of and co-founder and chief operating officer of Pegasus Pictures, LLC. You may note that he is wearing a Friends of the Pig t-shirt. I dare say he's our first program speaker ever to wear a Friends of the Pig t-shirt. And he's founding executive director of the Bloomington Academy of Film and Theater, a wonderful new entrance to the Bloomington arts and cultural community. John has served as an instructor of acting, voice, movement, musical theater, and Shakespearean studies at a number of different types of institutions, both universities and theater companies. His acting credits in Bloomington include The Santaland Diaries, a one-person play with Cardinal Stage. Raise your hand if you saw him in that magnificent production many years ago. And more recently, Rounding Third, a two-person play with Cardinal Stage. He's a proud member of Actors Equity Association, a graduate of Indiana University with 2 degrees, a bachelor's in musical theater, and an MFA in acting. I'm very happy to present John Armstrong. And I believe that John is loading his own slides. So if we need a little bit of interim.
Okay, so, and if John's going to be doing that, I need to give him co-host.
Yeah.
Thanks.
1 second. Armstrong. I'm looking for, oh, there he is. Okay, here we go. Okay, you should be good to go with sharing your screen, John.
Okay, I will do so in just a second. First, I'll say hello and thank you very much for having me today. I feel very honored to be asked to come and share the story of our work and what we're doing here in Bloomington. I had the joy of meeting Sarah Laughlin randomly, and the day before my first visit to Rotary, she just said, "Hey, you want to come tomorrow?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm going to come." And I was just so impressed with the group and all the initiatives that you have, but mostly the spirit and energy that permeates the group. So I look forward to being. I'm definitely a future Rotarian. Look forward to joining here in the very near future. I'll go ahead and share my screen here now to make sure that we're rolling correctly. Let me get my keynote up and run.
It is Pegasus.
And here we go. Are you seeing just the Pegasus logo?
No.
You're seeing 2 things?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, goodness. Oh, wait, I know what to do. Now,
yay, that's good.
Hey,
that's
okay, good. I've got a 2-screen setup so I can both see my upcoming slides and the toolbars and all that stuff. So I'm adapting to the technology. So as I was introduced, I am the COO of Pegasus Pictures and the executive director of the Pegasus Institute and the Bloomington Academy of Film and Theater. And I'd like to just share with you sort of an overview of the genesis of our company and how the journey of how it started and where we are today. When I'm asked to speak, which I'm pleased to be able to do on a fairly regular basis, it's hard for me to kind of pinpoint exactly which part of the story to tell because there's so many things have happened over the last several years since we started. So I think for this group, I just want to talk to you about how we grew and what we're doing now and what things are looking like in the future. I am a 1996 graduate of Brownsburg High School. I came to IU as a first-generation college student in 1996, and my parents moved to Florida in 98. So Bloomington has felt like my home base for quite a while. And as a first-generation college student, it kind of took me a little while to find my legs, so to speak, in my scholarship. The first major step I had was being accepted to the Jacobs School of Music as a vocal performance major, and then ended up with a degree in musical theater under the tutelage of George Pinney. And my personal journey is every bit as interesting and winding as my professional journey, but life brought me back to Bloomington in 2004 to get my MFA in acting. And it was there that I met my now business partner, trying to move forward. Oh.
Yes.
Wait. It's catching up to me. Hold on. Show navigator. Slide. Don't go ahead of me. Arrow. Hold on. I tested this. Believe me, I did. It should. Nope. It's moving ahead. Oh, well, okay, here we go. My business partner, Zachary Spicer. Zach was an undergrad during my years in graduate school. He was actually an English and archaeology major, but later became an actor and has had a really successful career on Broadway and television. And we met in his undergrad years doing plays together. And our lives went separate directions, as you do in the performing arts, and both those directions were out of Indiana, because as you know, there's not a thriving industry here in Indiana. Both of our journeys led us back to New York City in 2014. Zach had been there for, about 10 years, working as an actor. He was in Macbeth with Kenneth Branagh on Broadway, Wit with Cynthia Nixon on Broadway, and many dozens of television appearances. And Zach and I reconnected. I was teaching at the New York Film Academy, acting and musical theater and various disciplines in entertainment. And I got Zach a job teaching some classes. And he said, you know what? I'm tired of waiting for people to give me a chance to do my job. I'm tired of auditioning, and I want to get into feature films. I want to produce my own film. I want to star in it. I want to do it with my friends. And I want you to be my business partner. And I said, I have no idea what that means. I'd never been on a movie set, zero experience in film, only in theater. And he said, you know what? I think we can figure it out. And I said, well, all right, maybe we can. So we got started, and we started to ask ourselves a whole lot of questions. How do you produce a movie? We really had no idea. Zach had experience on set as an actor, but not as a producer. And we had to answer a lot of questions, namely, how do you raise money for a film? How do you get actors into your film? How do you get the production together, and all of those things? We realized very quickly that we needed to do this in a place where we knew the lay of the land. And we also realized that we were pretty lucky in the fact that Indiana did not have a film industry. And Indiana does not have a film industry because it doesn't have favorable tax legislation for filmmaking. A lot of other states offer great tax incentives and rebates to film in their states. Indiana does not. And as a result, there really is no industry here. So we started thinking, hey, if we make the movie in Indiana, perhaps that's how we can really get it done. And so that's when our Indiana strategy really started to take shape. We started asking ourselves, how do you market a film? How do you distribute a film? And how do you raise the funds? So we thought, if we did something noteworthy in Indiana, perhaps we wouldn't need as many marketing dollars. Perhaps we could self-distribute and get our film out to the world. And if we produce the film in Indiana, we could probably rely on some in-kind contributions from community members, really rely on the community for some of those extra perks that you can't really get together on a small budget. We can perhaps use the university and its resources, create internship programs, perhaps, and then use our alumni connection for consulting, for further distribution, and organic marketing. Well, that was enough to convince some people to invest in our movie. And we were able to raise $550,000 to produce our first independent film. Now, by movie standards, that's a minuscule amount. By our standards, that was an incredible amount of money. And it came from 30 different people, all willing to take a risk on us. So that was enough to, and part of our package was we were able to get a cast together. We were able to get the game plan together, and it all relied around Indiana. And that movie was called The Good Catholic. We were fortunate enough to get an incredible cast, including Danny Glover, John C. McGinley from, most people know from the TV series Scrubs, and a wonderful actress named Ren Schmidt. And then, of course, Zach was going to star in the film himself. We recruited David Anspaugh, the director of Rudy and Hoosiers, to come on as an executive producer to help kind of mentor us and make sure that we didn't screw anything up too majorly. And the film was written and directed by our dear friend Paul Schulberg, who was an MFA playwriting student at IU. And this story was loosely based on the story of his parents and was a tribute to them. So we raised the money, we got the film completed, but when you get a film done, it's you really don't know how it's going to turn out. Well, it turned out pretty well. It was really well reviewed. We won the Santa Barbara Film Festival. We got picked up for distribution. We were top billing on iTunes, later got a deal on Netflix, and now you can see the film today on Amazon Prime. So I encourage you all, if you've yet to see The Good Catholic, it is a wonderful story, as I said, loosely based on a true story, and 100% filmed right here in Bloomington. We stayed at the Grant Street Inn. We filmed at Trinity Church for the most part, and in and around downtown Bloomington. So we were pretty proud of that. That started, but something really happened around that film, more than just getting a film done. We wanted to engage our community, and the outpouring of support was amazing. People got so excited. These students at IU who were studying filmmaking, who had never had experience on an actual set, were able to get that experience. People loved being in the credits of the film. People loved coming to the premiere of the film. We kind of saw ourselves as kind of starting a theater company, being community-based. So what started as kind of a strategy for one film really became a mission for our company. And we decided that our company would focus on Indiana exclusively. And we created our mission statement, which is to engage communities, create jobs, retain talent, and inspire the next generation of filmmakers here in Indiana. We were pretty proud of it. I'm going back to here we go. Now, the impacts in Indiana was pretty awesome. We were featured in all sorts of publications and on television, and it culminated to us being invited to be in the Indy 500 parade in front of 3,000 people and full access to the Indy 500, which really blew our minds. We kind of thought someone had messed up and thought we were cooler than we were, but it definitely did that. And that's Zach's fiance. She'd actually come to Indiana. She flew in the night before from New York. It was her first time in Indiana. She went from the airport and was in a parade. And then she said, "I'm never coming back to Indiana unless you're having a parade for me." She was a great hit. So the impact was pretty awesome. And as that started to happen, people started to really take notice of the fact that we didn't have filmmaking in Indiana. And it was a really great opportunity to create jobs and to create more art and more culture and more commerce in Indiana. So we became part of a contingent that advocated to the state for favorable tax legislation. I've now testified before the state House and the state Senate on 2 different bills, which is now widely supported in the state through the governor's office, lieutenant governor's office. We were going to put up the bill again this year. Obviously, the COVID crisis has kind of tabled everything, but the momentum's looking really, really good for favorable tax legislation. And if that happens, it'll be a real game changer for our company. So in creating a company with this kind of vision, this mission, we knew that we had to stay relevant and we had to do a lot more than just make movies. Making movies is very hard. Raising money for movies is very hard. And you can't do them on a regular basis. It takes about a year to get a film off the ground, another year to get it done, and a year to get it to distribution. And so we knew we wanted to do more work while we were producing films. So we actually created two different companies. Pegasus Pictures is our for-profit movie company, and then the Pegasus Institute is our nonprofit entity. Pegasus Pictures is about making movies and hopefully making money on those movies. We have, after we finished The Good Catholic, we decided we want to kind of do a better, find a better model for fundraising for movies. So we created a private equity fund called the Indiana Film Fund. And so we started raising investment in larger amounts to hopefully produce a wide spectrum of films. When that mission came about, that's when I moved back to Bloomington in 2017. And I was so thrilled to be an official Bloomeranger. Bloomington always felt like home to me, but being in the industry that I worked in, I had to do the work outside of Bloomington. So I was so excited to come back to Bloomington, but I was terrified. You know, most people move to New York or LA to get into the industry. I was moving to the Midwest to be a movie producer, and that seemed way more risky than moving to New York or Los Angeles. But with our new model, with a lot of support, I thought, you know, maybe we could make something happen. And we got our next film off the ground. That one's called Ms. Whitelight. We finished that film in the fall of 2017, and it is slated, we just signed our distribution deal a month ago, and it'll be globally released in September. That film starred Judith Light, who was wonderful in the film, Roberta Calendres, John Ortiz, a wonderful cast of actors. We went to the South by Southwest Film Festival and were selected as one of 10 competition films at South by Southwest. We were very lucky to have gone to South by Southwest in 2019 because this year the entirety of South by Southwest was canceled. So our timing was pretty fortuitous. The next film we did was a co-production called The Miseducation of Bindu, written and directed by Pratna Mohan. And her husband, Ed Tempe, was a Cathedral High School alumni and reached out to us to possibly co-produce Bindu, which we did. We filmed Bindu in the summer of 2018, and it is also slated for distribution this year. It's being executive produced by the Duplass brothers, who are kind of the who's who in independent filmmaking. And they've had a lot of success with different films. We were featured in the Indie Star and on IndieWire, and David Arquette was the featured actor in that film. One day someone showed up to set with a monkey, and we said, please, David, hold this monkey so we can take a photo. So that's David Arquette on set with a monkey. In the meantime, we were always in development for new projects. And so we were very, very lucky to come in contact with Michael Corita. Michael Corita, if you don't know, is a prolific novelist, thriller and mystery novelist from Bloomington. He has written over a dozen novels, many of them New York Times bestsellers, many optioned for films. And one of them in particular is called So Cold the River. And So Cold the River was set at the West Baden Hotel in and around West Baden and French Lick. And we just, in partnership with Cook Group, wrapped production on our largest film to date, So Cold the River, this last February. We lived in the West Baden Hotel for all of January and February, which after a while started to feel a little bit like, you know, The Shining. And for 2 weeks of that period, they actually closed down the entire hotel so that we could film. We filmed in the French Lick Casino, and it was an incredible experience and really, really tough. We've just finished editing the film. It's going on into post-production, and look for release of So Cold the River next year. There's the famed West Baden Hotel. I'm sure you're all well aware, but if you haven't been, as soon as it's reopened, you must go and keep an eye out for So Cold the River next year. Simultaneously, while doing all this film work, we've been on the ground doing work with the Pegasus Institute, which is our nonprofit entity. The Pegasus Institute has basically 3 different initiatives. The Wilmington Academy of Film and Theater, a statewide high school screenwriting competition in which a film is fully produced with high school students and professional filmmakers called Project Pegasus. And for the last couple of years, we've hosted the Labyrinth Theater Company from New York City in Bloomington with a New Works Writers Intensive, where we create new plays and new screenplays. The thing that was really amazing in the process of Ms. Whitelight was we got on the radar of Cook Group, specifically Pete Yonkman, who's now the CEO of Cook. He came to set and saw us in a warehouse on the south side of town. There's a big warehouse right across from the Bloomington Valley Nursery, off the road a little bit. And we were filming. We built a soundstage inside this giant warehouse. And he said, "What are you doing here?" And we said, "We're making movies." And he said, "How can we help?" And so we started a partnership at that time. One of the big problems in shooting in a warehouse is that every time it rains, you have to stop production because the sound of the rain on the roof is so bad, it ruins the sound in the movie. So that was one big hurdle we had. So we got in partnership with Cook Group with our first goal of creating a studio for ourselves. And I'm actually sitting in it right now. We started looking for a space in 2018 in the spring. We settled on, if you folks may recognize this building, it is the former Red Cross building on 7th Street, directly next to the Grant Street Inn. It's a little unassuming from the outside, but on the inside, it's quite large. And we broke ground, I should say we broke the interior. We started demolition on the building on the inside in the fall of 2018 and opened the Bloomington Academy of Film and Theater in February of last year, 2019. Started out as a vision, which is to create the largest hole we could in the middle of the building so that we could hang a grid and some lights. And since then, it's been bustling with activity. We have cabaret performances, film productions and tutorials, adult acting classes, kid acting classes, music classes. We did a camp last summer with Cardinal Stage. I'm sitting in our dance studio right now, a nice small little dance studio with ballet classes for all ages, the lobby out in front, which is a lot of fun to hang out in. But even more fun is the basement, which is the full footprint. We've decked it out to be a fun, cozy little place to hang and learn. That's me teaching high school students Shakespeare this past fall. And we also have a post-production suite with 6 stations, fully decked out with software for editing and sound mixing and animation and color correction and the like. So the Bloomington Academy of Film and Theater is a partnership between the Bloomington Playwrights Project, Cardinal Stage, and us. And in it, we offer classes and master classes and professional development in all disciplines of film and theater for all ages, from storytelling classes for kids to adult filmmaking, movie making for adults as well. I think our span of ages last year was 6 to 74 years old. So we were really proud of the work being done here and the community that's forming and the collaborations and creation that's happening here at BAFT. Enrollment has steadily grown. I think we had over 125 different people take classes last year, and we're poised to continue that this year with some modifications, which I'll talk about a little bit. So the Bloomington Academy of Film and Theater, we're striving to be a premier performing arts training institution in Indiana and to spread this level of training around our region. Now, obviously, we've hit some snags with our current crisis, which has caused us to really innovate. And we're really excited about the stuff that we came up with. The first thing I did was host an online showcase for the entire month of April, which we called the Shelter in Place Showcase. And every day for a period of several weeks, we had performances and tutorials. We had meditation, we had visual art, people just sharing their craft, their knowledge for free online to engage with our audience and in our community. And starting on June 1st, we began BAFT Online. At least a dozen classes are going to be offered in virtual format, which we're really excited about because this is going to allow, just like this Zoom call today, we have people joining us from all over who may not be able to come to Bloomington physically. And so this is going to widen our network and allow us to draw in students from all around who would like to learn more about the performing arts but may not have access because of their geography. And these online classes can continue long after we're able to reopen our doors. So we're really excited about that. Additionally, we're starting the Pegasus Masterclass series. And that's where we're really using our Pegasus connections in the industry, casting directors, actors, agents, designers from all over to share their knowledge with people in Indiana and with students, with IU students, to help us connect more to the industry and also to validate the people who live here to understand that we're doing professional work. Amazing theater happens here in Indiana and Bloomington, and we want to celebrate that. So hopefully these new initiatives will help us to engage a wider audience and to increase our student base. Now, Project Pegasus is actually the first thing that we did. We decided that we were going to have a statewide high school screenwriting competition for short screenplays, in which we would pick a winning screenplay, we would bring a professional film crew to a kid's town, and we would make the film with them. And it started as just an idea. And I ran it by my business partner, and he said, "That's incredible, let's do that." We were waiting to release The Good Catholic. This is back in 2017. And we said, okay, well, let's do this while we're gearing up to release The Good Catholic. And so I just said, okay, how do you do that? So we started the competition. We built a website. I contacted the State Board of Education and said, could you help us spread the word? So we got emails out to every high school student in the state of Indiana, to every teacher. And then I said, well, how do you raise money for something like this? I didn't know. So we had to figure out how to create a fiscal sponsorship, how to find monetary sponsorship from businesses, from organizations. We didn't know much about grant writing, so we were trying to see if there's any potential for that, but we got it done. The winner was Kira Daniels down in Madison, Indiana. Her project was called Through the Window. We went to Madison, we lived there for a week. The community raised $20,000 and we produced the first Project Pegasus in 2017. We've now done it 3 times. We did it in Madison, we did it in Fishers, and we did it in Spencer. The 2 students from Fishers who co-wrote the screenplay are now sophomores at Indiana University studying filmmaking. And so it's been an incredible experience. Communities come together, they rally around this project. They're so proud. We make sure that the film showcases the town that a student lives in. And it's really a pleasurable experience for everyone involved. And so again, it also helps us to keep our brand going and to keep ourselves relevant and in the media while we're waiting for our feature films to get on board. There's Kara Daniels right there. And her learning more about filmmaking. This is the day we announced the winners in Fishers. So Whitney Roberts and Cynthia Folk. Okay, all right, thanks. There's Zach right there. There's Eleanor Cook. She was in the second film there in Fishers. And it's just an incredible experience for all the kids involved. We were slated to do our 4th Project Pegasus in South Bend. We were going to do production this month, actually, and start post-production this summer. So we've had to bump the project a couple of months, but we'll be back up in South Bend sometime late summer, early fall to make our 4th Project Pegasus film.
Yes, sir.
And the last thing I'll tell you about as we're running out of time here is our Writers Intensive. The Labyrinth Theater Company is one of New York's most prominent theater companies. Prolific. Their alumni group is star-studded. One of their main writers is an author named Stephen Adly Girgis. Stephen Adly Girgis is a Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright. And we brought him to Bloomington, where he had been having a little writer's block. But he came to Bloomington and locked himself in the Grant Street Inn and started writing a new play. That play He finished the first act in 2018. He finished the second act in Bloomington on 2019. It premiered off Broadway earlier this year and is now the most award-nominated off-Broadway play this season. And it was written right here in Bloomington. We actually had a reading of it last summer with Stephen Adley Girgis, and Jesse Eisenberg wanted to come because Stephen is Jesse's favorite playwright. So we actually had an Academy Award nominee and a Pulitzer Prize winning playwright in our studio last summer, right here in Bloomington. So it blew our mind. But the most exciting thing is it starts a dialogue. We had, you'll see some familiar faces, John Weichart, Pete Yonkman, Evan Martin is there, along with members of the theater company. We had a town hall to just talk about the state of what's going on in our country and to find ways to connect. And last summer, we actually did a collaborative playwriting development project at Cook Medical, where we embedded some playwrights with the night shift employees at Cook and wrote a new play based on Cook employees, which had a reading in New York earlier this year as well. So it's just an incredible experience. So as I said, Zach and I reconnected in the fall of 2014 and said, let's make a movie. And here we are less than 6 years later with 4 movies under our belt, 4 movies under our belt, 4 Project Pegasus, 3 Project Pegasus films, an academy, a studio, a writing intensive. And that's all because we decided to make a commitment to community. And when people commit to community, amazing things happen. And so we hope that our work is enriching the community, and we hope that we can continue to do that. We actually, last thing I'll say is Cardinal Stage just moved in. So we're able to sell their building, and so now they're in between office spaces. And so they've moved into our building here, and we're collaborating with them and the Bloomington Playwrights Project to produce new work all the time. So that's just the overview. I could go on and on about any number of these things, and I'm happy to take any questions you have now if we have time for that. If not, always happy to answer by email as well. So that's the overview. Thank you for taking the time and joining and listening.
Thank you, John. That's absolutely wonderful. Very inspiring. Doing good things in Bloomington. Wow. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up the formal meeting because we're supposed to do that at 1. Some people need to leave, but would like you to stay with us to answer questions after we do that. It'll just take a minute. So, in honor of today's celebration of service, we're going to provide this quarter's local charity donation to Centerstone, the United Way agency. And now, Ashley Sullivan, will you please talk about our program next week?
Absolutely. Our next celebration of service will be May 26th, right here on Zoom. Our program will be Jillian Kinsey from the IU School of Education, speaking on preparation for work and life. What are college students experiencing today? And she will be introduced by our very own Lynn Schwartzberg, which I'm looking forward to that. And can't wait to hear what students are going through. So join us next week.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. And now, just for the thought of the week, which is about the difference between knowledge and wisdom, something we're all always working on. I hope you haven't heard this recently, but it's from Brian O'Driscoll, an Irish athlete. Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad.
That's good. That's good.
Please share the 4-way test with us. And Alan? So of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair? Third, will it build friendships?
4th,
Fourth.
and beneficial, and 5th.
Fifth.
It's been fun.
Yay.
Hey, and so our speaker has agreed to remain. Thank you, John. And anyone needing to exit the celebration of service can move to the lower right cursor and click on leave meeting. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Aaron. It was a great meeting.
John, thank you so
And
much.
John,
I
yeah.
learned a lot.
So John, what a story.
I have a question for
Have
John.
you written the script yet for this story?
I know. I feel like I need to write a memoir because people always say that is this your dream come true? And I said, I never had this dream.
Yeah.
And now that, in this, we'll call this the after hours conversation. I'd like to share just personally, as I said, I started college as a first generation student and I really floundered. I was failing my classes but I was taking voice lessons in the Jacobs School with a grad student. And he said, what are you doing with your life? And I said, well, failing. And he said, maybe you should audition for music school. And I said, okay. And I got in. And then I got on the radar of George Pinning. And so I had these great mentors along the way. And I did summer theater in Colorado before the summer of my senior year. Had a showmance, we like to call it, with a young lady, and got married and had a son. And then came back to graduate school. My son was, once I had a child, it was like, oh man, I can't be a starving artist. What do I do? And grad school sounded like a great idea. So my son was born 2 weeks before graduate school started. Soon after graduate school, I got divorced and became a single father. And so that really threw my life for a complete loop. So if I would have told myself 10 years ago, my 30-year-old self, or I'm 42 now, hey, what you're going to be doing in 10 years is this, this, and this, I wouldn't have believed it. So I think my memoir is like a happy accident, or a happy accidental life, because I'm so joyful and so happy for all the blessings in my life. But it really was just trying to do the right thing one step at a time, and trusting, relying on people and trusting that things will be okay. And here I am.
Okay, Tim Jessen had a question.
Yep.
Yes, I had a question, Jonathan. Has this story, it's a wonderful story. I'm glad I stayed all the way to the end. But has your story been written up in the Herald Times or anywhere? I'm kind of new to hearing about this. I'm sorry. I'm very interested in the arts.
No, that's okay. Yeah, we've had several write-ups in Blue Magazine and in the Herald Times and Indy Star, and been on news at various times. I guess it just kind of depends on what lands on your lap and on the day that you look. But yeah, we again, it hasn't been that long in a span of time. So yeah, we've had some write-ups periodically.
Well, Joel Pearson, who writes about the theater with Connie Shakalis, and they have nothing to write about. And the other day he talked to me and he said, if you can find anybody that would make a good column for me, please recommend him. And I'm going to recommend you because
please do.
He's looking for people to fill his column when there isn't any live theater going
well,
on.
I know I did a musical at the BPP with Connie as well, so I know her. But yes, please do. I'd love to. Always happy to talk. I'll talk about myself all day.
Well, your story was wonderfully told. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you for saying so.
Hey, John, I have a question about the name origin of Pegasus. So Pegasus was a mythical winged horse.
Yes.
How did you come up with Pegasus, the mythical winged pig?
My partner gets credit for that. He was raised in a home that they were literature buffs, and he was always a big John Steinbeck fan. And on the inside cover of John Steinbeck novels, there's a sketch of a Pegasus and a quote in Latin that translates to lumbering souls striving to fly with not enough wing spread, but plenty of intention. I thought, he said, that sounds like a independent film company, so let's call it Pegasus.
Nice.
We had a marketer tell us once, he said, hey, love it or hate it, once you get it, you don't forget it. And I was like, all right, great, so we'll stick to it.
Nice.
I think it's wonderful that you stress the idea of community. Community is so important.
Absolutely.
Couldn't
And
be stressed enough.
film company, movies by nature are transient. You know, you go to this location, you go to that location, and so they move around a lot. And it's rare for a film company to say, I'm gonna stay right here and make my radius my community, which for us can be the whole state of Indiana. Specifically, you know, our home base here, base of operations is Bloomington. So theater companies do it all the time. And our background is theater. Zach and I are both theater actors first. And so it seemed like a no-brainer, but just something that doesn't happen a lot in the film industry. So so far it's working out. Hopefully we'll keep the momentum.
And communities have unending stories, as Mike Parita knows.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I was going to jump in because one of my friends, her two children went to the Institute last summer and were part of the group that learned the music and so forth for the Cardinal Stage production. And I got to attend the closing event, which was wonderful. And so I just want to congratulate you and all of the work.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And once we're able to open the doors, I encourage anybody who wants to come and just drop me a line and want to come check out the building. Always happy to give a tour.
Good.
Hey, John, I have a quick question for you. I actually just sent you an email as well, so you can respond to that as well.
Yeah,
that's a wonderful thing about watching this virtually, because you can actually send people messages while you're watching it.
Amazing.
But congratulations, extraordinary. I mean, what you've been doing over the last 10 years is knockout amazing.
Oh,
one of the questions that I had for you is just about IU, whether you've been able to intersect much with Indiana University and what the shape of that looks like.
Absolutely. We've had on all 4 of our films, we've had a pretty robust internship program with the media school. And when we first, when we did The Good Catholic, we had an internship program with the media school. And they came to set and nobody knew how to do anything. They didn't know how to set up a basic stand. So we were kind of like, well, what's going on there? And since then, they've really revamped the program. They brought in a new professor named Craig Erpelding. Craig has extensive experience in Chicago on network television shows. And so since then, we've seen this incredible growth in their ability to really be hands-on in the filmmaking world, and also getting practical experience on our sets has helped them. We've seen students, and also like one of my proudest stories actually is our high school project. We had someone intern with us on the high school project in Fishers, Indiana. He was later hired on set for the Miseducation of Bindu, and now he's been hired in paid jobs continually. He actually decided to forego college because he was getting so much work opportunity, which is what I go and talk about to the Indiana Economic Development Commission and the state Senate. I say, you know, these are skilled jobs that people can learn, and they don't necessarily require a 4-year college degree. Yeah. So we're also working with Ivy Tech to create some certification programs to help build the job market that way. But also the high school project here at Daniels wants to come to IU. Whitney and Cynthia have come to IU, and they're just excited to come and study and be a part of Pegasus, and be able to provide that practical experience is something we're really proud of.
What happened?
That's great. Thank you.
Spencer. What happened with Spencer?
Our our third Project Pegasus film, the high school film, the winner there was Marjorie Aberl. We filmed her movie in May of last year, and I literally got the last final cut of it today. So we'll be showcasing that film sometime in the next couple of months. We were going to premiere it at the Tivoli. I don't know if that's going to be possible yet. but it'll be available online to a wide audience. It's a lovely story. I'll make sure to let you guys know when it's available.
Other questions?
Wonderful, thank you.
Oh, I just wanted to say I've worked with John, and he's wonderful to work with, and fun, and smart.
Is that Connie?
Yeah.
You're sounding otherworldly.
That was John's effect on my acting.
Hey, John, what is your email?
It's my full name. It's John Robert Armstrong at PegasusPictures.com.
Thank you.
You bet.
Well, John, we would love to see a lot more of you.
I can't wait.
You have paperwork?
I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now. So here we go.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.